Hey everybody, my name is RJ Thompson. I'm the Associate Director of Student Engagement in the Katz Graduate School of Business at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm really excited to be here with you today at the EduWeb Innovation Showcase as part of the EduSnacks session. As always, I love hearing your feedback and conversation about any of the things that I have the good fortune to present on. And you can reach me at my contact information on this slide. In particular, I want to talk to you today about building a marketing ecosystem on a budget. This is something that's been on my mind lately with my own internal clients at the university, but also with my freelance external clients. As you can imagine, this is a topic that can really provide a lot of difference to a variety of different stakeholders. So where do we begin? I want to talk about the crash. With budgets being slashed, vendors being cut and removed from the production picture, and more reliance being put on staff to produce impact, the marketing ecosystem for some is changing dramatically. And in order to survive and thrive and to do more with less time, you have to think really you have to have a very hard concentration on who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, who you're doing it for. A lot of this takes on some deep, immersive, insightful consideration when you're thinking about your place within the marketing ecosystem. How do we build a cost-efficient and high-impact system that makes sense, reduces effort, and invests your money appropriately? This requires two systems to be broken: your mind and your marketing. So through chaos, the system failure, the more you learn from failure, the more success you will have, okay? Establishing a marketing ecosystem can sustain slow and steady adoption of additional resources, but it can't sustain rapid fundamental shift, okay? So that's the big thing to know. You're dealing with a huge marketing machine and all this effort, and change happens slowly. So at the end of this change, you realize what you had, and of what you had, what you didn't need. It's also here where you kick yourself for realizing you spent more money on something than you should have. So I want to take a look at how through chaos comes clarity. You do that hard restart, you remove the bloat, you can focus on the tools that you need to thrive and succeed. Okay, you're able to consider the depth of your tools. If you have a shallow knowledge of a tool or tools, it stands to reason you may not have needed it in the first place. So making a marketing ecosystem on a budget actually has a lot to do with product knowledge and really investing yourself in learning these tools so that way you can optimize their usage within your team. Okay. For all the work that and knowledge that you have of your institution or your organization, it must run deep. As your clarity increases, so too does your willingness to say goodbye to comfort, making sacrifice and spending, appropriate spending, easier. So these are the parts to the whole that affect your entire ecosystem. And this is an example of how you can connect the core pieces of your business, the core pieces of your revenue generation together. So if I'm focusing on lead generation, converting those leads to sales, I need to focus on campaign building and storytelling. If you keep your expectations grounded, you keep your strategies grounded and simple and lean, you'll know what tools you need. You'll know how much you need to spend on said tools. And also you'll know how much time you need to spend to fully learn the tools. So essentially, your marketing ecosystem doesn't have all the apps and bells and whistles. If anything, it's a smart, efficient, optimized system that maybe utilizes a handful of tools versus all of them in existence. So let's talk about the Kickstart adaptation. You need to relearn what brought you success or what brings you success. How do you take those practices and principles for success and revenue generation and apply them to new tools, new skills, new modes of thinking within those tools? How do you adapt when you remove the blow? How do you adapt when you remove the comfort? Adapt the practices and principles that have brought you success to your new streamlined tool set. If you can't do what you need to do, reassess. And if you need to add more tools at that point, then you'll be prepared to do so. So A Swiss Army knife full of Swiss Army knives. I think that describes every app in existence. But a lot of these applications that you're using within your marketing ecosystem, many of them do the same thing that another app does. So again, be lean, focus on the minimum. Just because an app can do more than what you need it to doesn't mean you have to use it. And please maintain a healthy skepticism with software solutions and spend your budget wisely. Okay. You don't need TweetDeck and Hootsuite. All right. Just use one. That's a great example of duplication of effort. So here's how you build the balance in your mind, your goals, excuse me, your tools, and your revenue. A balance provides for better decision making, clear goals, more efficient use of tools, and it puts your bottom line into focus. But this requires significant work. All right. It's this balancing work, though, that keeps your expenses small, your budgets open to experiment, to generate new lines of revenue, new modes of communication, new methods of engagement, and it cultivates a greater pride and deeper depth of knowledge in your work, in your organization, and the smaller exclusive tool sets that you're using. So installing the balance, getting your future in order. Building a better marketing system in some cases is less of an issue of budget and more of an issue of an incorrect use of your resources. In many cases, you don't need the dozens of tools you think you do, okay? The more tools you think you need and use incorrectly, the larger and more corrupt your marketing ecosystem. Keep it simple, keep it small, keep it lean, and you'll be nimble, you'll be flexible, you'll be adaptive. And I think that, especially now when budgets are shrinking, you're going to be able to find more organic success than you would by relying on dozens of tools that just bloat your thinking in your mind and bloat your system, your technology as well. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate being able to talk with you briefly. You can find me on Twitter at RJTPitt, P-I-T-T. And then you can also check out some of my thinking on my blog, Comms Centered, where I talk a lot about marketing in higher education. So thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the showcase.